The following production is brought to you by the Talkin Buds Leafs Show.
Here we go. Yes, sir. Season 7 is underway. Talkin Buds Leafs Show. We are back in the saddle. You ready, buddy? You strapped in? You strapped in for another training camp and then another 82. Just staring down the barrel of another 82.
Yeah, it's a journey. It is a journey, and it is a grind.
And it's here before you know it.
But it's honestly,
it got here so fast.
The television during the summer is so bad. Like, it's fucking terrible. There's nothing to watch. And now football is coming back on. And, you know, all the storylines with this team, whatever. I'm just happy that every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, the odd Monday, Wednesday, I know exactly what I'm doing.
Well, the Monday games will be on Amazon Prime. That's an underrated thing about this season that I'm kind of excited about. Like everything else in this country, sports media is completely monopolized by the two telcos. Not MLSE anymore, though, however, which we will talk about in a few minutes. So to have a new player in the market that is broadcasting hockey games and just a kind of a new presentation that isn't Bell or Rogers owned, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, some new personalities, some new faces, some new broadcasters. I'm about it. I'm about it.
If you're joining us for the very first time, thank you so much. I am Rob. He is Ryan. We are the Talkin Buds Leafs Show. Make sure you go follow us on our socials, both of which are in the description below, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the audio version. Camp's open. No shortage of storylines. Some storylines that have me scratching my head, some having me rolling my eyes, some have me intrigued and interested. But I was kind of like, where do we start? You know, we watched all the media availabilities today, and I'm just, you know what, Ryan? Like, fuck it. Let's just come out of the gate hot and talk about the most important topic in Leaf training camp, and that is Mitch Marner, who spoke to the media today and right off the bat squashed. And you knew he was going to do this. He basically opened his media availability by saying, quote, "I'm not here to talk about that with respect to his contract. I'm very happy to be a Maple Leaf. It's an unbelievable privilege. I'm here to talk about the season and getting going." I think about the season and how, even though he's not going to discuss it, this is going to be something that is going to be in the media all year long. And it's something that we are going to talk about all year long. And it's giving me flashbacks to what we dealt with William Nylander last year. And I'm just sitting here thinking, please, this has to be different. I really hope, listen, the media, and I'm talking about like the people who are paid to cover this team, they're gonna run with this all year. And we're gonna get stupid things like we got with William Nylander last year, where if Marner has like a 5-game point streak, or if he gets a hat trick or something like that, oh, the price is going up. The price is going up. We, as rational, level-headed fans of this team, have a responsibility to keep our eye on the prize. And I hope the team shares this too. Mitch Marner's future with the Toronto Maple Leafs and whatever dollar figure his next contract comes in at solely depends on his performance come playoff time. I don't give a flying fuck if this guy goes out and gets 200 points in the regular season this year. I don't care. The whole thing with Mitch Marner is disappearing when the games get tough. I'm a broken record. I've gone on my rant hundreds of times. Last time we got together, I went on the rant and you started laughing because you were like, how many times have I said this and gone on this rant?
Yeah.
But that's just where I'm at with him. And I'm not going to engage in this nonsense this year of, well, you know, he's on a 6-game point streak. So that 12 million's looking more and more like a possibility. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. You perform in the playoffs and that's it. That's all that matters with the Mitch Marner thing. Your thoughts on that?
I don't think the dollar figure has anything to do with how he's going to play or how he plays in the playoffs. I think he has a number that is set in his mind. There might be $100,000 wiggle room here, but it's not. We're not talking about $1 million difference here. I don't think the way he plays in any situation in the regular season, in the playoffs, has anything to do with the number he's going to ask for, and if they sign him, the number he's going to get. I think it's more about, is he coming back or not? Like that's what I'm.
Well, I think I'm coming from the perspective of the team here. It's like I'll be really disappointed if at some point in November, barring him taking a haircut, I'll be really disappointed if at some point in November, December, it comes out, we've reached a contract extension with Mitch Marner for $12.5 million.
Rob, it's going to be 12. Like there's the number 12 is going to be the number for that contract. I'm sorry. I don't care if he gets 50. Like he's not going to have a shit year. Okay. Mitch Marner's a very good regular season hockey player. I would love to see him eclipse the 100-point mark, but we know he's going to get 90 plus points a year. You know, he's going to play in all situations on the ice. You know he's going to be the same old good Mitch Marner he is every regular season. But it's just that number is going to be 12. I'm sorry. Well, if it is what it is.
Fine, but if he's hell bent on getting 12, I'm not giving it to him until we see how we perform. If I'm the Leafs, that is. I'm not giving it to him until we see how he performs in the playoffs.
Yeah, which kind of comes back to what I said. It's like it's more about, is he coming back or not?
Yes.
Like,
and if he
that's
doesn't
what you
perform in the
look
playoffs, then it's time to move on. It's that simple. And
Yeah.
yes, you're going to get the naysayers. They're going to hey, you're going to walk away from a talented player. It's like, it is what it is, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's not. We know he's a fantastic regular season hockey player. That's never been in question. That's never been in question. His performance in the regular season has never been something that we have scratched our head on. It's the same old thing with him, where when you get in these situations where you're playing a tough team in a playoff style game where there's no time and space, can he be effective? Can he adjust? Can he not look intimidated by physical play? Like, if you want to get down to it, Mitch Marner does not like playing physical hockey. He does not like when the game gets physical. He's not like getting pushed off the puck. He does not like when they take away his time and space with physicality. And at some point, you're going to have to get over that. And you're going to have to do it in a big playoff game. And if you're not going to do it, they shouldn't stroke him a check for $12 million. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, evidence shows that he can't do it. So,
yeah.
I mean, like I just don't know. Evidence shows that he can't do it. So I don't really have any belief that he can. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you hope that the hope is, and to me, this is the most interesting thing about this upcoming season. And as I've said 100 times, we're a year late with it. This should have happened last year, but it didn't. It's happening this year. Can Craig Berube get more juice out of the lemon?
Yeah.
Can Craig Berube get Mitch Marner to buy into playing a certain way that Sheldon Keefe could not? There's a lot of people who point to Mitch Marner's best performances as a Leaf in the playoffs in those early Bruins series when it was Mike Babcock coaching the team. So,
and the pressure was off a bit too.
It's true. So you hope that Berube can squeeze more juice out of the lemon. Yeah. That's really it. And that's across the board with this team. Because, I'm listening to Shanahan and Tree Living talk today, and it's just fucking Brendan Shanahan, man. Like, he is in the Mark Shapiro realm for me. I don't care about anything you have to say. I don't think you should be here, quite frankly. I don't know why you're here. You're still here for some reason, and we have to listen to you. I don't put an ounce of stock into anything you have to say. And, like, they're just sitting there today being like, oh, we thought we improved. It was just a lot like nothing.
Rob, I got nothing out of today. Like today,
it was nothing.
It was nothing. There's not one thing that one guy said where I was like, nice. It was just all more of the same. It was just, and then the media too, like asking Craig Berube what system he wants to play. Yeah. Do you prefer a north-south system? I have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea. Like it was brutal. But I do want to say this about Mitch Marner.
Yeah.
I want this guy to succeed. Mm-hmm. I really do. Like sometimes there's been things that have happened in the past with his family, with him, and his comments that he can come across as unlikable. But I think today, when you listen to Craig Berube speak, not Shanahan and Tree Living, because we've heard them speak before, but when Berube comes in, and man, he's sitting there. That guy commands a presence, man. He's a little bit different than
love
the
how-
other two that have been here in the past.
I've said that since I hired them, man. He's super intimidating. I love how all the guys are calling him Chief too. Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
But listening to him talk about Marner, it's like it just made me think. It's like I know this guy has had a troubled past, but I want to see him succeed. I want him to finally eclipse that 100-point mark. I recognize how great of a hockey player he is, and honestly, all it's going to take is one playoff series to change everybody's mind.
Yes.
He has a redo-dos.
Yeah.
Unless they have an awful season, the goaltending falls apart, and somehow one of those teams below them pass them. But let's just assume that's not going to happen. Let's assume that they're going to be in the same situation they're in every single year. It's going to take one series for this guy to turn this narrative around. He goes out, they win round one, and he's on the board every single night, making plays, finally playing the way that everyone else wants him to. Then it's going to be easier to stomach when they sauce him that $12 million contract.
It's not even about point production, Ryan. It's about be effective, win a battle. Don't be afraid. Like, I listen, it comes down to
it is
don't
point
be
production
scared.
because they don't score in the playoffs.
Okay, you're right, but but I think the bar with him in the playoffs has gotten low enough that if he goes out there and doesn't look like he's petrified of playing physical hockey, people will accept that. Like, I honestly think, I know I will. Like, if I see him go out there, like, if at the end of a playoff game, he's left off the score sheet, but when I watched him, I saw him go in the corner and I saw him win a bunch of battles. And I saw
generate
him
a bunch of chances.
Exactly.
And maybe the goalie was standing on their head. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Just
I
a
saw him
little
work hard.
good
I'll be
things
fine with
going
that.
on every night.
100%. So this is something we're going to follow all season long. Like I
Now,
said,
also, I do want to say, I know the regular season does not matter, but I do want to see this guy get 100 points. Why can't he? Why can't he be in that upper echelon with the Kucherovs? Like, he has the talent to do that.
100%. And yes, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to award him a new contract based on that. Well, you just reminded me. I don't think that we should buy into this whole regular season doesn't matter. It does matter. Let's win the fucking division.
I remember we said this last year.
Yeah, no, but let's enough. Like let's win the fucking division. Like let's there's no reason why they can't. This division, in my opinion, is very gettable this year. Yes, you still have the great teams. You got the Floridas, the Tampas, the Bostons, and we're all waiting for one of the lower tier teams to take a step. I don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah, that's the ultimate question mark in this division.
Yeah,
it's like you look at those top teams. It's like I don't see any of them getting any worse. Maybe I don't know. Tampa's always kind of the question mark where it's. I don't know where they're going to go, but they have the goaltender. They have Kucher. Like, I don't know. But
you wonder, too, how the Panthers are going to be after 2 straight runs to the Cup final.
Yeah.
Could there potentially be a Stanley Cup hangover? I'm banking on that, personally. I'm hoping to see that. You never know. The Florida Panthers are an absolute wagon, so you never know. All right, moving on. Let's talk about some more storylines heading into camp. Ryan, are you ready for this? William Nylander will start camp at center again.
Yeah, I almost wanted to create a segment on this show called "How Long Is This Gonna Last?"
Max Domi will start on the wing. Berube kind of made it sound today like Domi will start on Nylander's wing. Berube says that he likes the way Nylander transports the puck, and that's why he wants to give him a shot up the middle of the ice. Listen, this is clearly something that Brad Treliving wants. Brad Treliving is looking at the roster saying it's impossible for us to go get another legit centerman right now, so let's try and create one from within with William Nylander. Sheldon Keefe gave up on this 38 seconds into camp last year. I could see Berube giving it a bit of a longer look, but at the end of the day, Ryan, the question comes down to, do you think William Nylander can play center on this hockey team, or is he best suited on the wing where he's always been?
This is so stupid. Has William Nylander ever played center for a prolonged period of time in the National Hockey League?
No.
Has he earned an $11.5 million contract through being an exceptional winger in this league?
Yes.
Yes. I would be shocked if this somehow worked out and he played the entire season down the middle. I just don't think. I think it's a nice little storyline for media and fans to grab a hold on to and have something to talk about during training camp, which I appreciate. But I don't, there's no evidence that this is going to work. I think since day one, since he got drafted, there's always been this little storyline behind him that, oh, you can move him to the middle. You can move him to the middle. Never seen it.
No.
Never seen it work. Never seen it stuck with. I'm just in my brain. I'm erasing that. Night one, he might be there. Who knows? But all year, he's on the wing, man. He's not playing center.
Well, like I said, I think it speaks also to Tree Living has gone out and tried to address their center ice depth and has looked around and said, there's nothing out there. Yeah. So let's try and create more depth within the organization. So I think you're right. I think when all is said and done and we're like in the midst of the season or we're heading into the playoffs, William Nylander will be on the wing. But I think Craig Berube will be more inclined to give this a longer runway than Sheldon Keefe literally watched William Nylander on down the middle for 2 shifts last year and was like, that's enough. So yeah, I could see that lasting maybe a little longer, but
just show me.
I don't know.
Let's show me if it's going to work. Because as of right now, I have nothing to base this on. In my brain, he is not a centerman. He's not going to play center. If I can see him play up the middle effectively, then okay, we could start talking about who's going to be his winger if he can stick at that position. But I've never seen it, so I'm not going to sit here and like this is a hypothetical to me. And
yes, we don't deal in hypotheticals.
No, we don't.
But it is happening, so we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Okay.
No.
Fraser Minten, Brad True Living announced, suffers a high ankle sprain in the rookie camp last year. He made the team at a camp last year. I think a lot of people look at him as eventual like bottom 6. Like his ceiling from people who know better than you and I do is someone who could be like a really good bottom 6 centerman in the league. Mm-hmm. It's too bad. I don't think there were plans for him to make the team this year anyway. I think everyone sort of had him earmarked to spend the year with the Marlies, which is where I think Easton Cowan should probably where I'd like to see Easton Cowan spend the year, but he can't spend the year in the Marlies, which is such a stupid rule. I hate it. But it's too bad. I feel bad for the kid that he's going to miss camp.
Yeah, and that's a tough injury, too. It's not one of those ones where he's going to be back next week. It's once you hear a sprain or like this guy's cooked, he's not going to play in the league this year. There's no hope for it because, I mean, last year he came out in camp and he was like a house on fire, and then we saw what happened in the regular season, but at least that gave you a little bit of hope. He's had a year of growth. Maybe he can do the exact same thing again and show up and be a player. But I hear a high ankle sprain. This guy's cooked. He's done. He's not on the team. So sorry, Fraser.
I think we should. I just brought up Easton Cowan, so let's just go there. They're in a tough spot with this guy, man. This guy lit up junior last year. He was like the best player on the London Knights in the league, but they're in a situation with him where he can't, again, like I said earlier, ideally you'd love for him to spend the year in the American Hockey League, but he can't do that. So you're in a situation where he either plays for the Leafs or he goes back to junior, which he's in that kind of weird spot now where he's like too good for junior, but he might not be, he's still, I didn't watch a ton of the rookie camp on the weekend. I'll be honest. I think like logging on to the app to watch the rookie. Like, listen, there's some people who really, there's some people who really want to do that. And that's awesome for you. But yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But like when you watch him, right, you see the video clips of it, he still looks pretty small.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, man, they're in a tough spot. Craig Berube does not strike me as the type of guy that's going to force the issue with Easton Cowan. I think if he looks small and he's getting pushed around, Berube will say that's it. Like, and I don't think he's too fussed. I don't think Craig Berube is worried about Easton Cowan's development, is what I'm trying to say. If he can play for the team and be effective, he'll give him a look. But if he can't, then let the organization figure out what's best for him. And if he's got to go back to junior, he's got to go back to junior.
I do like what they say about him, though, or what everybody says about him, that even though in stature he's not a monster, everyone says that he's just a player who competes very hard, which I know is just kind of a cliche at this point. But I would rather hear that than him just be, oh, he's a skilled guy. He's a skilled guy. I would, at least the first thing that's coming out of people's mouths who are watching this guy is he plays hard, he works hard, he competes hard. I know it's all just kind of whatever, but I don't mind that that's the first thing that comes to mind to people when they think about him. I don't see him making this team. I mean, it would be every Leaf fan's dream to have a player that they've drafted just show up at a young age and contribute offensively and be a big part of their team. But I think he's going back to junior.
It'll be an interesting thing to watch in camp. Like I'm looking forward, like some of these exhibition games it's kind of tough to sit through them, but the best part about watching them is watching a guy like Easton Cowan and see what he can do out there. And I hope that they keep him all the way to the end like they did last year. Let's keep him around for as long as he can and see what he looks like, especially as you get later into camp and these preseason games, you're starting to see more starters. Let's give him a look with some of the big boys and see how he looks beside a Matthews, see how he looks with a Marner, see how he looks with a Nylander, Tavares, what have you. So that's one of the things when I think about the next few weeks of camp that I'm personally looking forward to. It's watching Easton Cowan play.
Well, they do need like skill on the wings.
Oh,
like,
yeah, they
you
sure
look at
do,
their,
man.
Yeah, you look at their wing position. Like if you're penciling in Bobby McMahon on your second line, like
Dude,
I like Bobby
that
McMahon.
Left side is thin.
But I mean, usually I would say don't bring up a player who's a skilled player and put him on the fourth line. We saw that with Nick Robertson, another guy who's lit up junior came up, and it's just you throw him on the fourth line. The guy, he's not going to fit in. But if you do look at the way their roster's set up right now, they are in need for some skilled wingers, man. So I don't know. You never know, but I don't see it.
Well, happening. Ryan, 35-year-old Max Pacioretty will be in camp. His agent, Alan Walsh, so they announced last week that he's coming to camp on a PTO. His agent, Alan Walsh, then comes out on X and goes, "We intend to sign." And the vibe around Max Pacioretty is, barring him looking absolutely hopeless, he will be signing a contract with the Leafs this year. I really don't want to come off like a smart guy when we talk about this, because like obviously it's like, I don't understand. Why are you doing a 35-year-old guy? Shouldn't you give the younger guys a try? Shouldn't you? It's just like, shut up. But Max Pacioretty has been hurt a lot in the last few years. He's not played a ton of hockey, and you're bringing him in. Listen, the upside of Max Pacioretty, he adds some wing depth and can tuck 15 for you this year. Like, like upside.
Remember, he used to be so elite back in the day. Like,
yeah,
he used to just
upside.
snipe at home.
So I think what you're looking for in camp with Max Pacioretty is, can this guy skate?
Yeah.
Because if he can't skate, he can't play on the team. And can you find a role for him somewhere? And you just pointed out how weak they are on the wings. I think this is all the goal with this is to provide as many guys for Berube as possible and create competition and all that sort of thing. But what is your opinion on the Leafs bringing in Max Pacioretty on a PTO?
Just a flaw. Like, PTOs are just, why not? Why not? It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't do anything. If you see a guy that you don't mind sitting out there, a veteran guy who hopefully can come in and add the old quote unquote veteran presence that everyone's looking for, why not? But you look at his stats, you look at his numbers. His last somewhat elite year was before COVID, 2019, 2020, or 32 goals. But you look at the past 3 seasons, the guy really he's tailed off.
He's been hurt.
Yeah, he hasn't played. And so, I mean, what's the best you can get? You just hope that somehow 10 years ago, Max Pacioretty can tuck home half of what Tyler Bertuzzi tucked home. And hopefully slot him in on the fourth or third line. But it's just bringing a guy in at PTO, like it's just.
But his agent,
risk.
His agent said, "We intend to sign."
Yeah, for what?
I don't know, probably
nothing.
I mean, he's not. If he's coming here, he's had conversations with Tree and the management team. He's not coming here expecting like a $4 million contract. Like, he's coming in here. If you make the team, you're signing league minimum probably to play here. So
yeah,
I don't know.
What it is. It's
an interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's because Connor Dewar's kind of hurt, and like you just have a mishmash of dudes on in your bottom 6. So I think if you think that anyone out there can just provide something in your bottom 6, especially a little bit of offense, then fuck it, just give it a shot. Who cares?
So the Leafs work out a deal I think it was last week or the week before, with Jani Hakanpää. There was all the speculation about this guy, about what's he going to, like, what's the deal with his knee? Can he play? Can he not play? He ends up signing for $1.4 million. I love this new Puckpedia, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
This is the Puckpedia. Like, God bless you. God bless you.
It's kind of a nicer looking website too.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. God bless the folks at Puckpedia.
Yeah.
Berube said today that he's going to start with they're going to have the A group, the B group, the C group. He said Hakanpää is going to start with the C group, which is kind of like rookies and stuff, to try and get him up to speed before moving him into the B group. This is a guy who I think they really, really hope can get back to what he was a few years ago. For me, you just look at this guy and you look at his size and you're like, if this guy can play even a little bit on the third line and be a big body for them back there, that's a look that I'd love to see. So I'm personally am pulling for Jani Hakanpää to come out the end of this here and be a 6-7 defenseman for them.
The way you just described Jani Hakanpää is literally what training camp is all about.
Yes.
If this guy can do this, then that would be great. If this guy could do that, it's just...
He's a big defenseman, though, man. Like, they need...
I know. They've really small back there.
Yes.
Is he going to be any worse than Mark Giordano was the past 2 years? Like,
no, exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Again, it's another
John
guy...
Klingberg?
Who doesn't cost you a lot of money, who is a big dude. You've always been looking for big defensemen, especially guys who are right-handed, and you're just going to take a chance and just hope something works out. But, I mean, I look at that D-core, and they might have upgraded the size, but they did not upgrade the skill. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I mean, Chris Tanev's a huge upgrade. He's one guy. But he's a huge upgrade from what they've had back there in the past, man. Like when you're removing TJ Brody and you're inserting Chris Tanev, that's an upgrade.
It's improved, but if we're talking about all the top teams and that division, like they do not stack up on the back end compared to some of the other top teams in the division. They just don't.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Okay, so we had the whole Nick Robertson drama over the summer where he said he wanted a trade, and everyone's kind of scratching their head being like, you have no leverage. What do you mean you want to trade? And he's just tired of being here. He wants a fresh start somewhere else. He wants to be afforded an opportunity that he feels he wasn't afforded here under the Sheldon Keefe regime, but then Sheldon Keefe's gone. So everyone's like, why are you, like, if you hate Sheldon Keefe, he's gone. Like, it's a new coat of paint here with Craig Berube. So they get him signed for $875,000 for one more year. Saravelli came out after and said it's still not off the table that they could potentially trade him. This Nick Robertson thing is really weird because, once again, you highlighted how weak they are on the wings. There's an opportunity for this guy to take a step this year. Do you believe he can take a step? You've never been the biggest Nick Robertson fan. Not that you haven't been a fan. No. You just haven't been a believer.
No. I don't think he's going to fit into the system. I really don't. I just think he's just like, you just
too
look
small.
At the lineup and you're like, where do you put him? It's like you put him with the top guys, like maybe it could work, but he cannot play in your bottom six, and that's always been his problem. But he's not good enough to slot in next to Johnny T or Matthews. He's just kind of a tweener player where he just cannot play in your bottom six. So if he's not going to produce at an elite level, then what's really the point of having the guy?
Do you not think the upside is there, though? Like, do you not think, like, he could
remember
be
last
good
year,
enough?
He went through that little stretch where he scored a couple big goals, and I forget what the streak was, but he had a goal in, like, a couple games in a row or something. Like, he has the shot. He has the ability to put the puck in the net. But at the same time, he also really has never gotten a fair shake. Like, you're in the lineup every single night, so you don't have to worry about making a mistake and getting yanked out and being in the press box the next night. But at the same time, can they afford to give him that run? I don't know. I don't see it working out. I really don't.
And therein lies his frustration and why he was requesting a trade, because he's like, I've never been given a fair shake here.
But at the same time, you look at like anyone who's watched this team and watched this guy play when he's been in the lineup, there's not really an argument you can make to be like, he's got to be in the lineup every single night.
Oh, no. He,
you know,
for me, the thing that always worries me about him is just how small he looks out there,
Yeah,
man.
he's tiny.
And he's got rocked a couple times. It's like
Yeah.
he doesn't have the Marner ability where he can. Here I am earlier. I'm criticizing Mitch Marner for not being physical enough,
Yeah,
and now I'm about to.
But he knows
praise
how to
him.
avoid hits.
Yeah. But now I'm about to praise him for knowing how to avoid hits.
Yeah.
But he just, I don't know. Listen, fresh coat of paint. Give it your all. Berube's coming in here with no preconceived notions. He said as much today about Marner and everybody else. Go out there and try and earn a spot. Try and earn a spot in the top 6, man. They need you up there. Like, if he could take a step and look like a legit everyday NHL guy this year, that's huge for them. Think about, every time I think of Nick Robertson, I think about how Bobby McMahon completely leapfrogged him on their depth chart. Like, if we were having this conversation, even at the beginning of camp last year, and we were sitting writing out a depth chart of their forwards, we probably would have had Bobby McMahon ranked underneath Nick Robertson. And now, nobody has him ranked underneath Nick Robertson. Freaking Daily Faceoff has Bobby McMahon listed as a top 6 winger, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
if you can follow in suit with what Bobby McMahon did, and you can establish yourself as a top 6 guy on this team, great. And if not, I'm sure they'll look to trade you. I hope now that he's signed and he's at camp, put all that shit behind you and just focus on being the best version of yourself that you can be, man. None of this crybaby bullshit. I don't want to hear anything about if he's a scratch for a few times. Nick Robertson is unhappy. Newsflash for you, bud. You're nowhere near you're not your brother. You're nowhere near a big enough name for anyone to care, quite frankly. Yeah. The only way you're going to earn the respect that you're looking for is to play the way you can every single day, and that's it. Tough love for Nick Robertson.
Yeah, he needs to find a home with the Utah Yeti.
Well, you must have been really excited when a guy that you've been petitioning the Leafs to bring in for a while now, goaltender John Gillies, signs a PTO. So now I saw this yesterday that the Leafs are bringing John Gillies on a PTO, and like everyone else, I was like, who? So I looked up John Gillies, who was with the Columbus Blue Jackets last year. It's just another guy. So by my estimation, they have 4 goaltenders in camp right now. They've got Stolars, they've got Wall, they've got Matt Murray, and they've got your guy, John Gillies.
Isn't Dennis there too? Dennis,
yeah, but I don't think anyone's thinking Dennis is making the big team this year.
Yeah.
You want my hot take on the Leafs goaltending this year?
Yeah.
Matt Murray. Craig Berube went out of his way to mention Matt Murray by name today, talking about this. I think Matt Murray, and from everything that everyone said, is feeling the best he's felt in years after having the surgery and taking an entire year off. Don't sleep on Matt Murray and them potentially carrying 3 goalies this year. Or if they don't I think they're going to give Wall all the runway in the world. It's just the question is, can he stay healthy? But if they don't like what they see from Stolars in camp, I would not be surprised if they start the season with Wall as number 1 and Matt Murray as number 2 and Stolars down with the Marlies. Or they carry 3 goalies, something like that. I would not be surprised. I think you're going to see Matt Murray start games for them this year. And I think when Craig Berube's an old school guy. He went out of his way to, and for the record, I'm not sitting here saying that I believe in Matt Murray. I'm just giving my take on what I think the organization is going to do. Okay. Craig Berube's an old school guy. He went out of his way to mention Matt Murray by name this year. I think he looks at his goaltender's resume and he sees one guy that's got 2 cup rings and one guy who's got another cup ring, but was a backup.
Yeah.
And 2 other guys who are like Wall, who's still a young player, and John Gillies, who's a journeyman. And he goes, that guy's got 2 cup rings. And so I think he's got his somewhere. If you gave him some truth serum, he'd like to see Matt Murray play well and be one of their 2 goalies to start the season. That's my hot take on the Leafs goalie situation.
Yeah. My take is still the same every single time we have this conversation. If you look at their history since Freddie Anderson has left this organization, it's always been goaltender by committee. And somebody's going down at some point. Joe Wall will be hurt at some point this season. I'm hoping it's not 8 weeks. I hope it's just like, oh yeah, he kind of like whatever, he'll be back next week. But it is goaltender by committee here. You see the third guy on their depth chart play games for them every single season since Freddie Anderson has left. And even when Freddie Anderson was here, you still saw the third guy. So Matt Murray will play games for this team at some point this season. I guarantee it. And Anthony Stolarz will also get a chance to be a starter for at least a week this season. I guarantee it. It is going to be goaltender by committee because, again, like I said with the defense, it doesn't match up with other teams in the division, and same with the goaltending. It does not match up with other teams in this division. You look at the 3 teams above them in the division, they all have better goaltenders. It's just you just hope that Joe Wall is we've seen the ability. That series turned around when he got in the net, and then all of a sudden he disappeared.
Ryan, he's got I'm not gonna lie. He's got a long way to go to get me back in his corner. I'll admit it and say that it's a me thing. I really struggle with these injury prone guys. There's nothing that drives me. Oh, it's like
they're useless.
It drives me crazy. And I'm sorry. Like, for you to not be available for Game 7 last year, it's inexcusable. And I don't want to hear about like he made a save at the end of the game he didn't need to make. And to put your team in that position, it's completely inexcusable. Yes, he seems like a lovely guy. Yes, the upside is there, but he's got a long way for me personally to earn my trust back. I just don't. I'm not going to get all fired up about Joe Wall. I'm not. Like the guy can't. All he's done since he's been here is prove that he can't stay healthy. And to me, it negates all the good you've done. It's the old saying, the best ability is availability. And this dude he's not available. So
that's not always true. That is not always true because there's been a lot of guys who suddenly became not available for this franchise. And that was their best availability.
Yes, it's true. That was the best.
That was their best ability.
That's true.
That was not John Klingberg. His best ability was not being available. His best ability was calling it a career.
There's several guys. There's several guys who are just they were just like, why don't you go sit down? But anyways,
it's
guys.
A huge question mark, man. Yeah. It's the big. I think it's the biggest question mark by far in terms of just straight up ability. Can you get it done? Their goaltending is number 1 on that list for me.
This is a recording. Last thing I want to hit on before we get out of here. Rogers buys Bell out of Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment for $4.7 billion. Obviously, a lot of people freak out when they see this because people love to freak out about things. But if you actually take a step back and you want to look at Rogers as an owner of a sports franchise, like look at... One thing you can't criticize Rogers about with respect to the Jays is how much money they spend on the team. You can absolutely criticize Rogers for the personnel they have in place in terms of who's running the team.
That's I mean,
but you cannot you can't sit here and say, "Oh, well, Rogers doesn't invest in their sports teams." Like you can't. That is factually incorrect when you look at the Blue Jays. You can criticize them for keeping around Mark Shapiro. You can criticize them for keeping around Ross Atkins after almost a decade of no success. But in terms of like investing in the team and giving the team the tools and resources, like you look at the way they've invested in the Jays spring training facility. You look at the way they've invested. I
was at the Dome on the weekend. That place looks incredible compared to what it used to look like, man. It was like I'm sitting down behind the dug. Yeah, like it's just I'm a bit out of my depth speaking about this topic because I don't know anything about logistics or anything. But I think when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs, there's never going to be a penny spared. That's the way I look at it.
Exactly.
So I don't see this franchise ever being a conservative one when it comes to spending money. I really don't. Not what they're charging to sit in the golds at Scotiabank.
And again, they've got MLSE obviously has all the other teams, but no one's mistaking who the golden goose is. When it comes to who drives business for sports in this city, and it's not close.
Worried. No.
It's not close. No. All right, buddy. Look at that. Episode 1, season 7 in the books.
I feel like I could actually talk about this team for another hour. Well, I know we bet back, but it's like there's so many things to speak about with this hockey team.
I didn't want to go all out today because as we've experienced in the past, trying to come up with interesting things to discuss when you're into the second week of training camp is sometimes difficult. Mm-hmm. So if we can keep all this stuff for future episodes, that's probably ideal. We're going to have things pop up. Guys are going to get hurt. They might bring in some other guys. We're going to see what Berube does with line combinations. What did you think of, did you watch Austin Matthews today? And what did you think of his, I tell you what, man, I saw a great tweet today. I forgot who it was, but it said, if these guys defended each other as much on the ice during the playoffs as they defend Mitch Marner in the media, this would be a completely different team. Because, oh my God, all of them today, Jess, Mitch is a really great player, and Mitch. It's like, guys, Mitch Marner is in this situation. This is entirely his own fault. Like, listen, you and I have always said this, to personally attack someone and send people DMs on social media, it's like, you're a fucking psycho. But like, in terms of criticizing the guy as a hockey player and calling him out for the way he treated his last contract negotiation, his performance in the playoffs, that's entirely on him. And I do get a bit eye-rolly with just how much these guys, oh my God. Do you know these guys love each other? They love each other. Yeah,
well, and the media kind of just puts it on a platter for them too. Like, what are they supposed to say when they ask him about Mitch Marner? Oh, the guy sucks. Like, of course they're going to come out and say that he's a good player. He is a good player. We know he's probably a nice guy in the room. He probably has fun with all of them. Like, I don't know. Like, today watching Tavares and Riley, and I mean, Riley was the only one who came out and was like cup or bust. Like, but playing Tavares and Matthews and Marner sitting up there, you could just record them and they could just play it every single time they go up there to speak. It was just the same thing over and over and over again. It's whatever. What are they supposed to say? Other than, like I said, and obviously.
Yes.
Like I said.
Well, obviously,
like I said in this podcast, that Mitch Marner is a good player, and obviously he's going to be he has a contract situation coming up, but we're not going to talk about that.
Obviously,
like I said. I think are they trained to say that? That's what I want to know.
They are. They're all. Again, I'm going to be really disappointed if they have a game this offseason. I said this on our last episode, or this season, where they get, it's going to happen. They're going to have one night where they go out there against Utah and get the doors blown off, or at least once a year they get the shit kicked out of them by the Buffalo Sabres. Yeah. If Austin Matthews doesn't come out after that game and go, that was completely unacceptable, I'm going to be disappointed. Like, if it's just more defensive nonsense, then I'm just like, it's like, come on. Like,
I know we believe in this group, We
love each other. Yeah. We love each other. We love every guy in that room.
Yeah. I think Craig Berube at post games could be good. Because I feel like the media in this city can get intimidated. Like, they will be intimidated.
Did you see Rosie DeMano ask him a question today about accountability and stuff? And as soon as she finished the question, he just went,
yeah. Babcock was a little intimidating in the sense, but he was just like, you could ask him a question and he's just the guy is in outer space, man. Yeah. Like, he's just on another wavelength. But I just feel like this city, these media guys, they're gonna be, some of them are gonna be trembling when they ask a stupid question.
Yes, and especially after the team hasn't played well, and if you ask him a dumb question, he's just you're gonna get Belichicked. He's just gonna go no. He's just going to give you a one-worder, and that's it if you ask a dumb question. And I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, when we did the episode in the offseason, I love the hire. I love the hire of Craig Berube. I love it.
But at the same time, we don't know his quirks. No.
Keith
had some quirk. Every coach has their own set of beliefs that they're going to stick to, whether it's right or wrong in our eyes. So I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen if he's going to continue doing this ridiculous drop pass for the power play. I don't know if the penalty kill is going to get any better. There's so many different things.
Well, man, Mark Savard, that's going to be that's another thing.
That's the whole other topic.
Can Mark Savard fix this horrendous power play. Can someone fix this horrendous power play?
They're a great regular season team, but there's still a lot of things they could improve on going into this season. I know their power play always ends up near the top of the league, so it's tough to criticize. But everyone who watches this team knows when it comes down to them getting a power play goal, they can never get it. So it's like that needs to be improved. The penalty kill needs to be improved. My big God, it was terrible last year.
Yep.
Like so many different things. Like it's going to be very interesting to see how it all pans out. I don't know.
And you can come along the journey with us on season 7 of the Talkin Buds Leafs Show. Like I said off the top, hit that like and subscribe button below. Follow us in our socials. Links are below. Every little bit helps. Comment whatever you want. Call us pigeons. It's all good. We love all the engagement. We're so stoked to be back.
Spread the word. Tell your friends.
We really appreciate it. We will see you guys in a couple of days.